At the beginning of the year, I had an opportunity to interview a couple of my target audience or potential customers in a market research. And my goal was to find out what their number one need was or their number one want as regards to starting a business. And one thing stood out in the conversations I had with different people. And do you know what that is? Impact. Everyone wanted to impact more lives beyond their corporate career, beyond what they were already doing. And I'm not surprised because when we impact other people's lives, that is where we find fulfillment. In today's episode, we're going to learn 3 things you can do to become a woman of impact in your business. Stay tuned as I dig into today's episode. I have a review from Ellie on Apple Podcast. Ellie titled her review, Tenacious and an Overcomer. Ellie writes, Rise above limiting beliefs, fear, and excuses. I can't wait to hear Chichi's tips on how to not sacrifice family and personal time while building a business. Thank you for sharing your story of tenacity. I relate so much. What a joy to have found this podcast. Thank you so much, Ellie, for your encouraging review. If this podcast has blessed you and encouraged you, please leave me a 5-star review on Apple Podcast so that this podcast can reach more people. Scroll to the bottom of the podcast page where you are listening to this episode. You will see the ratings and review section. Locate and click the Write a Review purple link. Enter a title for your review. Click on the 5-star icon. Type your written review for this podcast. Click Submit when you're done, and that's it. Thank you in advance for leaving me a review. Let's dive into today's episode. Hey sis, welcome to the Start That Business podcast, where you will find practical solutions that empower you to start your service-based business. I'm your host, Chichi Ukomadu, an entrepreneur, wife, mom of 3, and a Jesus follower. 10 years ago, I was afraid of giving up my desire to build a corporate career and say yes to the Holy Spirit's nudge to start that business. I believe personal fulfillment comes from letting go of your way and saying yes to God's way so you can become all you were created to be. If you're ready to find personal fulfillment, grab a cup of coffee, tea, or hot cocoa, and your favorite snack. It's time to take your first step to start that business. You know the one I'm talking about? Yes, that one you've been putting up for a long time. From my market research, I found out that impact is a major need for a lot of people. Everyone wants to impact lives. Everyone wants to have a sense of meaning beyond their 9 to 5, beyond their regular routine or their regular life. And what I realized about impact is that impact can either be negative or positive. You can have an interaction with the business and the impact they leave on you can be a positive impact or a negative impact. I remember a shipping company I went to ship an item, and I got there, and the way the lady at the front office, the way she treated me, I felt very little. I got there and she was like, "Oh, is this just the little package you're shipping?" Like she was saying, we could care less about your shipment because it's so little. We deal with bigger packages. And she left a negative impact on me. Now, you might be asking, what is impact? The way I define impact is leaving the effect or how you leave a place, a person, or a thing. So I define impact as leaving a place, person, or thing better than you met them or you met it. Now, this is positive impact. Now, of course, the negative impact will be leaving a place, person, or thing worse than you met them. But we're going to focus on positive impact because that is the kind of impact we're trying to make. So positive impact is leaving a place, person, or thing better than you met them or you met it. Now, what are the 3 things you can do to become a woman of impact in business? The first thing you can do to become a woman of impact in business is stop comparing yourself to others. Yes. And you might be surprised, like, what does that have to do with impact? Well, comparison comes from a lack of understanding of who you are and your divine design. When I say your divine design, I mean what God created you to accomplish here on earth. When you understand who God created you to be and what He designed you to do or accomplish here on earth, you understand that you have the power to impact people positively. So you show up with that understanding. You appreciate the effect that you bring when you come to a place. Have you noticed that some people, the effect they have is when they show up or they walk into a place, they make things better. Some people, they take things to the next level. That is the impact. But when you don't understand who you are and you continue to compare yourself to other people, you never come into the fullness of the impact you can make as an individual. The second thing you can do to become a woman of impact is to give yourself, your team, and your customers a 5-star experience. In the story I shared earlier, the lady I met at the front office of that business, she gave me, I think, a 0-star experience. But if you want to be a woman of impact, learn to start giving yourself, your team members, and your customers a 5-star experience. Now, you might ask me, how can I give myself a 5-star experience? As the business owner, you can give yourself a 5-star experience by avoiding toxic pricing and paying yourself a salary. Yes, you make an impact in your own life by avoiding toxic pricing. What is toxic pricing? Toxic pricing means you are pricing your service lower than it needs to be, and your business is not sustainable or even profitable as a result of that. So avoid toxic pricing, pay yourself a salary. How can you give your team a 5-star experience? Treat your team members with respect and dignity. That way you leave a positive impact on them. The fact that you are the boss doesn't mean you should treat them like trash or talk down on them or treat them anyhow. No, give them a 5-star experience. Let them enjoy working with you. Let them enjoy working in your company. Make them feel like they matter because they do. Because they show up to help you accomplish the vision that God has given you. So treat your team members. You might not have a team now. You might have maybe vendors you're working with. Treat them with respect and dignity. Now, for your customers, the way you can give them a 5-star experience is by paying attention to the problem, to their problems, their wants, their worries, and their desires, and serving them by creating solutions to solve those problems, to appease those wants, those worries, and fulfill their desires. Don't look down on your customers, because the way you treat one customer is the way you would treat 1,000 customers. So learn to start giving them a 5-star experience. When you do that, you are leaving a positive impact on their life. The third thing you can do to become a woman of impact in your business is stop criticizing and complaining about other people's business. Yes. When you want to become a woman of impact, you have to learn to stop criticizing and complaining about other people's business. Do you know why? Because when you criticize and complain about other people's business, you are sowing the wrong seeds. You don't want to reap that in your own business. Learn to value the price tag that other people put on the solutions that they provide. Don't talk down on it. Don't say, oh, I can't pay that much for this service. No. If you do that, you will carry that same guilt into your business and you will project that same thing. And that's what leads to toxic pricing. So stop criticizing and complaining about other people's business. Instead, learn to value and appreciate the solutions that other people provide so that you can sow the right seeds for your business. All right, let's recap. 3 things you can do today to become a woman of impact in your business. Number 1, stop comparing yourself to others. Number 2, give yourself, your team, and your customers a 5-star experience. Number 3, stop criticizing and complaining about other people's business. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on today's episode. I hope you learned something new and you were encouraged. Please share this episode with someone who is looking to start a service-based business, or share it in a Facebook group so that others can get the help they need to start their business. Keep listening for more exciting episodes. I will meet you here next week. Hey sis, before you go, if this podcast has encouraged you, helped you, inspired you, or taught you something new, please head over to Apple Podcasts and search for Start That Business Podcast and leave me a written review. That's one of the ways I know this podcast is impacting your life. Thank you so much. I'll also love to connect with you on Instagram. My handle is @ChichiUkomadu. Until next time, always remember you have all you need to start that business. I'll see you soon.